Welcome back. For those unaware, Crime Stoppers offers rewards for those whose tips have led directly to criminal arrests. This, along with the kept promise of anonymity, continues to make the local organization an effective tool in catching the bad guys. For the second half of our show, along with interviewing Steve Nygaard, we'd also like to welcome back to the show Crime Stoppers Coordinator and Police PIO, Alan Guzman. Gentlemen, again, thank you very much. Now, you have been with Crime Stoppers as a coordinator for how long, Alan?
I took over, I think, in June of last year.
So if there's one person that knows day in and day out what that's like and what the experience is and the overall success of the program, it's you. Tell us what your experience has been like.
Well, in the beginning it was bumpy. Like I said, I was thrown more into the pit where I had to learn as I go. But with the former coordinator, he gave me more or less how the program worked in itself. And like Steve and Phil mentioned, I was overwhelmed because I not only wear one hat, I also wear another hat with the PIO. So they took it upon themselves that on November we switched over to a 24/7. The good thing that's been happening though is the investigators that are receiving the tips are getting more detailed information on their tips that they're getting. Because before the answer machine, very seldom people would be hesitant to give out more details. But with the 24/7 monitoring, the details come more clearly, and they're able to investigate these cases better.
And more opportunities, if you will, to leave no stone unturned, which is a fantastic thing for Guam. Now, I did want people at home, our viewers, to better appreciate Crime Stoppers and the work that you guys all do. I wanted to highlight, if you will, a famous Guam case. Steve, if you could preface that a little bit more.
The case you're talking about, I think, is the Treasure of Guam case.
That's right.
It was August 1991. It was an evening like any other, except that there was a tip that came into Crime Stoppers that from someone who was scared to death, but said he had to make the tip. And the tip was that DOC guards were letting prisoners out to go and commit crimes, and then letting them back in to the prison. Noticed was one prisoner had been seen at the carnival grounds in Tumon and came back to the prison with a sprained ankle. The tip said that there was a big crime about to go down that would involve these guys who were getting out. And he didn't know the place and didn't know the time, but he said it was going to be a place where there's a safe, that someone's going to be taken hostage and let go after the money was secured, that there would be a stolen car involved. And the call was full of details. And but the tipster said that please don't tell the police department and please don't tell the DOC guards, because he was scared for his life and he's scared for the welfare of his family. So the police liaison at the time was a man named Phil Dennis, is a veteran on our board of directors today. And Phil asked him if it would be okay to go to the Attorney General's office, and the guy agreed, let's go to the Attorney General's office. So it was Frances Tadinko Gatewood who was the Attorney General at the time, and so she headed up the investigation. Well, before they could even do any investigating, the crime came down. It came down the next night, and it came down just as it had been laid out in the call to Crime Stoppers. So the Attorney General's office honed in right on the people who were responsible, arrested 10 guards, 2 prisoners, and recovered $1 million that had been stolen from the Treasure of Guam. Now, you worked that case.
Alan was actually a part of that. Tell us what the experience was like.
I was assigned to a special task force with the governor's office in that particular incident that occurred, and I recall the crime syndicate operation that was working out of Department of Corrections at the time. I mean, we didn't have to see these inmates actually freebasing their own liquor. They're actually bringing liquor into the prison that were full approved. And because of that, I worked on that case along with the former chief of police of Ed Cabina at the time, was a lieutenant. We worked that case almost 9 straight months. I hardly got a chance to see my family at the time, but it's true, we did recover over $1 million, and several prison guards were arrested and convicted, and some of the inmates that were involved in the crime syndicate operation. And not only was the Treasure of Guam robbery that was able to be uncovered, it also uncovered a crime syndicate operation that worked out of the prison.
Wow, that's one major stat you guys can be darn proud of.
Well, that's taken on more significance than being an important Guam case. It's used worldwide now in Crime Stoppers training as a case study. and they use it to explain how to the anonymity worked. You know, the call wouldn't have been made if the caller couldn't have been anonymous, and how it resulted in effective arrests. And so, and in the training in November, where Greg McAleese, the founder of the program, came out to train, he trained FBI, U.S. attorneys, Guam police, and the call takers from G4S. They used that. He used that as one of the case studies.
Thanks for sharing, gentlemen. When news of a murder on our peaceful island occurs, the entire community is riveted. But with the help of tips from Crime Stoppers, murders like our last one can be solved quickly. We'll explain it next.